You say this is my land. You sing patriotic songs, tell stories about your fatherland. But is it true? What did you do to make it yours? Did you design the mountain, fill the river with water, or do you simply believe a fairy tale that says it is yours? We all behave as if ownership of Earth is self-evident. We draw borders, sell land, extract resources. We manufacture cheap patriotism and kill for lines on a map. But let's slow down. What makes you think you can own land? Well, I can assume that you can own something you create, like a song or an idea or a painting. This is your creation, and you can proudly call it your own. You can also sell something that you have created to another person. But tell me, how can you sell land or water? You cannot create water or a mountain or a coastline. Everything, all of these, existed before you. You didn't play any role in creating all of these, nor did the person who claimed they owned it before you. We have confused the improvement with the source. You can own labour that you've put into improving something, but you cannot own the source of it. As the philosopher John Locke once said, you own what you work on, but only if there is enough and as good left for everyone else. In a world of 8 billion people, that promise is broken. There is no more enough. There is no more as good. By the very rules of the thinkers who invented ownership, our modern claims have become invalid. The land you own, you bought it from somebody else who bought it from another person. Follow this logic back enough, and you will understand that the first person just took it. He didn't create it, didn't contribute to it, didn't deserve it, just declared it. That's all. The philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau warned us, the first man who enclosed a piece of ground and said, "This is mine," and found people simple enough to believe him, was the true founder of our modern misery. We call this sovereignty now. On the other hand, in the modern legal system, when somebody takes something that doesn't belong to them and sells it further, we call it robbery. We call it fraud. This is a clear example of imaginary ownership of something that cannot be owned in the first place. Something universal, something that belongs to all, not only to humans, but also to animals, insects and birds. Animals have the same need to eat, sleep and protect their young as you do. So how did you become the exclusive owner? What exactly granted you the right? A document? A flag? A story repeated long enough? Humans transformed geography into identity. A random place of birth became my land. A random place where your ancestors lived became fatherland. Possession of a land piece merged with identity itself. The land stopped being a place where we live. It became part of us. And once identity fuses with territory, every disagreement becomes existential. Now people are no longer protecting soil. They are protecting the story of who they are. You're probably proud of being British, or Italian or French. But again, what did you do to become French? You were born, that's it. A few kilometres to the left or right of a line you can't even see, and your entire identity, your pride, your language, your enemies, would be completely different. Random act, random people, random geography, random flag, random language. And yet millions are willing to die for this accident. We combine our random nationality with the imaginary concept of land ownership and use it as cheap patriotic glue to keep so-called nations together. We protect our land, or in fact, huge businesses and politicians taking advantage of its resources while appointing an external enemy for us to hate. And people die. People die brainwashed by patriotic stories defending imaginary lines on a map. While we fight, corporations quietly acquire and destroy the real wealth that belongs to all. The soil, the air, the water. While we argue over the colour of the flag, the water that should be free for everyone is being packaged and sold back to you. and it's sold by the exact same people, lecturing you about patriotism and protection of national interests. We rarely fight for the real damage, but many have died for symbolic stories. Look at a satellite image of Earth. Look. There are no boundaries, there are no borders, no lines, no flags. There are rivers, mountains, oceans, and scars, left by human activity. Many borders were drawn by a handful of officials in distant, quiet offices. Think of the Berlin Conference in 1884, where men who had never seen Africa carved it into pieces. Think of the Sykes-Picot line, drawn with a ruler across the Middle East. And now we treat those lines as sacred. We treat these lines as worth a human life. Borders have moved back and forth thousands of times in history. Entire nations and lands emerged and vanished. The place you live in now belonged to completely different people or nation 500 years ago, and it will not be yours several decades from now. Maybe it will be another nation's exploiting your land. So why are you so serious about it? Why are we willing to die for an imaginary concept? If we shake off all these layers of nationality and land ownership, we will realise that we are just temporary users, guests here. I understand there is a feeling of home and belonging, but it is not the same as claiming ownership and transforming it into political control. We blow it up to incredible levels. This must be ours, they must not have it. And we fight again over who gets the control to extract more from something neither side created. If aliens were to observe us from a distant galaxy, they couldn't make sense of these tiny organisms inhabiting a host, only to fight for resources and kill each other for a better patch of dirt. This never-ending fight has weakened the host already. And you know, when parasites weaken the host, two outcomes are possible. Either the host dies, or the parasites are eliminated. Nature has limited tolerance for imbalance. Symbiosis is welcomed. Infestation is not. Infestation ends in sickness. We claim ownership over what we did not create. We divide what is indivisible. We defend imaginary lines, temporary wealth, and meaningless status while killing the only real thing, the host. And without the host, there is no ownership. There is no us. We have to shift our view on ownership. In reality, nothing truly belongs to us. Everything is temporary use. A kind of rent. We arrive, we interact with the world for a few decades, and then we leave it behind for somebody else. When you stop believing you own everything, your relationship with the world changes completely. You become less obsessed with control, less obsessed with status, less obsessed with defending symbols and territory. You stop treating Earth like an object to conquer and start treating it like something entrusted to you temporarily. Ownership creates entitlement, temporary stewardship creates responsibility, and also humility, respect, gratitude, even relaxation, because you no longer carry the illusion that you must dominate and secure everything forever. You understand that you are a participant, not a ruler, a guest, not a god. This is the mindset humanity desperately needs. Not endless expansion and extraction. Not endless fighting over imaginary ownership, but coexistence with the host that allows us to exist at all.